So, Nicole, let's dive right in. You know what was happening is before we hit the record, you
Mhm.
started telling a really impactful story of your journey, and I said, wait a minute, let's jump on the show to tell the story. So, before we get into that, truly, Nicole, I appreciate you jumping on, and I know you don't have to do this, right? You've got a lot of things to do, and the fact that you are willing to have this conversation and it's going to help so many other agents that are out there trying to make it happen. So before we jump in, truly thank you.
Thank you, Brandon, for having me. I appreciate you for seeing something that I may not have saw myself. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dive into this thing. We were just talking. I mean, you got started in the business in 2001.
Mhm.
So you are a veteran in the business. You've been doing this a long time. You've been exposed to a lot of different markets. You've been exposed to a lot of different voices and coaches and methodologies. And so I want to really help the people understand what you've been through and what things look like today and some of the mistakes you've made along the way and some of the things that are working today, if you're cool with that. So
Yes.
let's go back really quick in 2001 and just kind of tell us what the early days were like, some of those early struggles when we got into the Great Recession of 2007, 2008.
Well, the early days was I got licensed the first time. I took the test first time and passed it. And I got within 28 days of licensure, I had my first sale. And I just took the ground off running. So when I say I did not build a foundation, and you speak on it a lot, Brandon, is your regret is you did not take care of that database, and I did the same thing. And so got was running and running and running, selling. I was in a price point that is very hard for me to get back into. I was selling $1 million houses, 2 million. I sold a girlfriend and her husband $2 million house, another girlfriend $1 million house, and things were just heyday and fantastic. And then during that, quickly, it seemed like things changed for the worse. I felt like I was, and you know how much I love sports. From playing basketball in college and everything. And I could make it analogous to I was an amateur getting ready to get drafted and go pro.
Mm,
And then the carpet came out of me and from underneath me. And from that point, things went down. I had to transition my marriage, transition in the market. Sellers are telling you you're asking all the right questions. Sellers are not telling you the truth. They're going through foreclosure, all that. And then I had to move in to the house I sold my mom.
mm,
And I moved in there thinking I was going to escape going to Texas. Through a long story, I strategically at that point, I convinced myself that I did not want to be in commission-based sales, and I was going to go get a pharmaceutical sales job, get a company car, and base pay and all that kind of stuff because I didn't have the support at home with my mom. And I went strategically to Starbucks and put away my ego and pride. Degree from UCLA, thinking I'm knocking down the doors of Starbucks, and yeah, I went there strategically for the health insurance to meet the people who could give me the job in the pharmaceutical sales
mm.
positions, right? And to be able to take care of my mom. It ended up I was my mom's caregiver, and I didn't realize that was the case. There was a reason behind my story and my path. Then I had plenty of colleagues saying, Nicole, come back, come back. Didn't have the faith at that time to do commission only by myself. Then started gearing myself, listening to entrepreneurs, studying that to get myself back. And then I tiptoed in it and went closing attorney side. And I did that for probably 3.5 years too long, because if you see my disc profile, I should never be behind a desk.
Sure. Yeah.
And then 2017, called my broker up, said, hey, I need to get back sales, went team route. I knew I needed, in my opinion, I knew I needed to go team route because I knew
Sure.
I all the people that I had put in fantastic houses, because I did not let them know I'm still licensed, I'm still doing business. Well, guess what? They sold with other people,
Sure.
and that could have sustained me through that crash. Had I been top of mind, had I been systematically approaching them and telling them, things about the market. So I went closing attorney side, came back 2017, went on a team with United Home Group, Cody Gibson's expansion team, and then did that for probably 2 years. I did it strategically because I could be a listing agent and a buyer specialist. I wasn't pegged just a buyer's agent. And
Sure.
then saw that was, it ran its course. I was studying videos, and I came across your video and I studied you because because I've been in the industry for so long, I studied you, studied where you were. I knew that you were at Rocket Mortgage. I knew that you were a loan officer. I knew that you were at Keller Williams because I saw all your videos. You came from Serve It Heart. And I was like, wait a minute, is he Keller Williams? Or is he former Keller Williams? So I studied you and studied everything, came on board probably, I want to say October 2021, when you had your different iterations. I think I wasn't quite physical domination, but I was there when you did the book
Yeah.
signing that came out.
Sure.
And then from that point, you did Listing Agent Academy. I felt like I needed to stay. I knew you had something that I hadn't seen before, because to your point, all the other people who are coaching are forcing conversations, forcing the seller. And yours was just, hey, you are helping them self-discover. And then from that point, went on and signed up. You did a Listing Agent Academy and then Inner Circle. And through that, I knew, because of the little bit of a favor and grandfathered in, you were going to be none other than a utility bill. I'd rather have a utility bill go late before I get Brandon's
That's so funny.
program go late. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just shared a
I know
lot.
that was a long right there. I was long.
No, it was great. I mean, the fact that, and I'm just kind of taking some notes too as you're telling your story, the fact that you got into the business, you rode kind of that first boom, right, of 2001 to 2005. That was the height of the market. It was really good, right? Then you rode the market down during the Great Recession. And
I
to
went
your
down.
point, yeah. And you had no ego. I mean, you were a college athlete coming out of UCLA. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast episode we'll have to tell, because me in women's basketball. I'm a women's basketball coach. And then you get back into the business, right? You're humble enough to say, you know what, let me give this thing another shot. You come back into it with a new mindset. You start on a team, which I think was really, really smart. When you started back as a solo agent in 2019, before you and I started working together, what was your approach to lead generation and taking care of your clients? And how are you going to grow your business when you said, okay, I'm back in this thing, I'm off the team? And this was before you and I started working together. What was that like?
It was attempting to stay in front of your clients, speaking to everybody that you've done business with, everybody in your phone downline. I'll be upfront with you. I've had a hard time of reconnecting and kindling the relationships with the old clients. I'm working on it. I've had people say, Nicole, just do a letter saying, hey, life happened, and would like to get back in contact with you. Some things came in my lap. I'll be upfront with you, because what action begets action. Object in motion tends to stay in motion. And if you're doing the activity, things happen upon. And I did coach with a coach in Keller Williams. And I will say, what you get on a coaching level that way is just pretty much a go get it, and push. Whereas you're still going out, getting the material, you're still going out and figuring it out. Whereas, I mean, you laid it out. You lay it out for us. So that's what I was doing, is going after, I hadn't quite really gone after for sale by owner expires. I knew to do so.
Sure.
Definitely knew to do so, but I didn't quite do that.
Yeah. And let's and for probably many reasons, right? And so one of the big focuses for you now is this kind of second time around is to take care of the client and put them into a system where you can build this database. Maybe we'll come back to that. So let's talk about what lead generation looks like for you today, and what are some of the things you've been learning. Let's start really focusing on, okay, when we break down lead generation, what lead sources are you working most? And it's mostly listing focused, right?
Oh, I'm working on really, the only buyers I want, to be upfront with you, are sellers that have properties that need to purchase.
That's
That's
right.
really, because the buyer pool is going to come at you by just organically.
Yeah.
There's no, in my opinion, and I could be stepping on people's toes. There's no need for me to do a first time buyer seminar.
Yeah.
There isn't, because their buyers are going to come to you regardless.
Yeah, for
So
sure. So what
what I'm
resources are you working now?
I am doing my own sphere. A lot of my stuff is coming from my sphere, and then from those listings, I've been door knocking. I've door knocked, and by chance, from one of those door knocks, which I thought was a door that slammed in my face, to be upfront with you, they called me back, and as I was at a referral listing, they called me again. That action, big ass action, and I'm getting a phone call, text coming through, and not only did they recognize that I sold the client, their neighbor down the street, which was a referral, but the neighbor down the street, I door knocked it. They need to sell their home, move to Houston, and then their daughter's moving with, and she need to sell her townhome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, when you get in the way of opportunities, they come.
Yeah. And you have such great confidence, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And I would imagine that really helps you to acquire new business and new clients. Because when you sit in front of somebody and you bring your energy and your passion and your confidence and your charisma, people probably feel really safe in your hands. And so I'm going to come back to that in a second. So sphere of influence has been a big focus of yours because it makes sense. In the past, you said, man, I really have a regret, just like I did, right? I have a regret for not serving the people that I already know. So what are some of the things you're doing this time to stay top of mind, to communicate with people that you know, that's helping you to generate repeat and referral business?
Inviting them to, on the calendar, I'm fall festival, inviting them to anything that the actual, even if I can't do it, my office is doing it.
Sure.
And get involved with them. Secret Santa, cookies of Santa, fall festival, picnics, all those type of things, inviting them to something.
Events.
Recently here, a vendor blessed me with 4 tickets to the Braves. To be upfront with you, I didn't want to go sit out in the sun. However, I had a client who has dealt with business, just gave me a listing I didn't have to put on the market, already had a tenant involved, tenant's buying it. So how could I bless him? He bought from me, and he just handed me that listing, and I gave him those tickets.
It's amazing.
So I'm doing more purposeful. How can I be of service? That's huge. Instead of just a wham bam one time, thank you, but more being of service, inviting the micro events, attempting to start doing equity analysis or annual review, staying in front of people. One of the things that you delineate very well is different things. Hey, here's a vendor that some of my clients have enjoyed. Maybe you might like it, or you mentioned how HVAC season. That's another thing that we need to probably do, and have vendors who can give them percentage off based off of your relationship with them. Those are things that you've taught us in your book and in Inner Circle.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So coming back to, acquiring clients, I mean, because really, I think you'd agree with this, that no matter how a real estate agent is generating leads or listing appointments, what it's all going to come down to is when you're sitting at someone's kitchen table, face to face, belly to belly, eye to eye, how you present yourself will determine the level of success you'll have in this business as a listing agent. Can we shift gears and talk about that listing appointment and some of the things that you've learned through the work that we've done together that's helped you show up the way that you want for your clients and ultimately win the listing?
Yeah. So one of the things, to go back to basketball briefly with that, is I have this little piece of paper. It's back from 1989. It's yellow. And it says tips for b-ball players, which goes to your point. It's got 4 things. Know what to do it to the best of your ability, know when to do it, and do it every time down the floor. So you show us know what to do. Well, knowing what to do is setting the agenda, letting them know what you came here to do. You came here to show them how they can position their home as the obvious choice. And you take command of the actual meeting.
Yep.
To the point to where when I go on that appointment, not that they acquiesce, but they know that you're the one in control.
Absolutely.
Be very humble, ask to take off your shoes to come in, all that. Be respectful of their home, set the agenda. on the appointment. Make sure that you are explaining to them what it looks like to be the obvious choice. The active, put it in their terms. Actives is what is actives, that we know what actives is as an agent, but that's your competing properties, is who you're competing against.
That's right.
You know, offer to take them to the listings to see it. They turn you down every single time, but they
Right.
know that you're serious about helping them get it sold.
That's
And then
right.
letting them know, and then what you do, because you know this, back when you had to make phone calls to the other agents to find out how many days it take to get how many showings did you have? Are you guys close to off asking? Were there closing costs involved? All those things on those pending sales, the ones that no longer are your competition, the seller needs to know that.
Love it. So you're calling other agents just to get some data on the pendings,
Sure.
and you bring that conversation into
Even the close.
yeah, it makes total sense.
You have to. In
Yeah,
order to articulate and show that you are the expert, how can you not show that you're expert if you don't go and do the research? They're paying you thousands of dollars,
that's right.
not just to smile and put a lockbox on the darn door.
Yeah, I love it. And so you show up with all that conviction, right? And so again, I go back to what I said before, but when you're sitting in front of a seller and they're interviewing you to represent their property, you actually become the obvious choice because of the preparation, because of what you've put into that appointment. And you're able to then articulate yourself in a way where they perceive you as, wow, you're the exact agent we want to represent our property. And you probably win listings at a high percentage. Would that be fair? Like, do you know what your batting average is? Do you know what your closing rate is?
I will say this much. I need to get more for sell by owners and expires to make sure it says, but I'm getting them I'm getting them when I go into the door. Probably I would say 75 to 80%.
Yeah. If you're in front of them, you're going to get the business.
I'm sorry?
If you get in front of somebody, you're getting the business 75 to 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm. I will say this much. I need to get more volume, more appointments to see if that's fair, and see what I need to work on. But again, you lay it out, like I said, know what to do. Do it every single time down the floor. Do it to the best of your ability. Best of your ability is, did you call those pendings? Did you call those other agents to get an idea of what they saw happen in the market? And they help you. To that point is that same one that I door knocked. I had to, a novice agent won the bell to get that one closed. We had a lien, the seller had a lien. We had a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things. And I had to get the title company, or in this case, the attorney, to insure over a HOA lien. I had to get the attorneys to forego my client who had a lien from a person who was just doing a judgment on them. So, and then talking to the other agent saying, oh, no, yeah, we have the HOA situation come up, but, we got closed with, and they told me who they closed with. The attorney called them and found out who they insured with. So you got to know those things in order to present yourself as being an expert.
Yeah. And that's where your expertise really comes in with all the experience you have. I guess, let me shift to, you see a lot of new agents come into the business, and what are maybe some of the struggles that you see new agents have that in your mind you're like, man, you're going the wrong way? Like, what advice would you have for newer agents that are maybe just getting started in the business?
Well, I see them doing a lot of shiny objects, and that's huge. All of us do the shiny objects. They're thinking that they can do something without picking up the phone and talking to people.
That's right.
Bottom line. They think that they can do a TikTok video, do social media. You can, but it's going to be a long game.
Yeah.
If you don't have the reserves, and most of them get into the business without the reserves. I came back in the business without the reserves, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to, what I suggest to them is, because I've done it wrong, is get your database together. I don't know anybody. I just moved here. You know somebody.
Yeah.
You have people in your phone, and you could sell houses everywhere. And meaning you can get referral fees. You can let them know that you're an expert. I can get you with somebody that can help you in your city. You have to become the economist of choice.
That's right.
And show your expertise. So I would tell them to make sure they get their database in order, their network in order,
For sure.
If they don't have that, then how can you do that? You do vendors, because you're going to come across people there, even if you don't have children or need a pediatrician, your client will when they move here or, come in here. So I would tell them to work on that, and only then, do not buy anything. Don't buy anything. Everybody's going to be emailing you, texting you, buy this, buy that. If it's not an old school referral fee, do not talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's not going to be in the back end, 25, 35%, I'm not doing any admin fee. I'm not doing anything. So just pick up the phone. And the easiest way is pick up the phone with people who already raised their hands.
That's right. For sale by owners expires, just starting with that, having conversations daily with people who we already know have a desire to move, right? And so I love it. Number one is get your database organized so you can start communicating with the people that you know. This is both your biggest regret and my biggest regret. And so new agents watching and listening to the show, from day one, let's get real organized on the database so that we can communicate with the people that we do know. And then number two, I don't think you have to buy leads. There's no reason for you to go out there and start to get into the hole and spending thousands of dollars on probably people that you wouldn't call your ideal client avatar, probably people you would not want to work with. Where if you just pick up the phone, you get to decide where you're having those conversations. Hey, I want to get some listings in this area. Hey, I want to get some listings in that neighborhood. Hey, I want to get some listings at that price point. You actually get to decide the type of business that you serve. So I love it. So number two, you said don't buy anything. Focus on picking up the phone, prospecting, and generating conversations. Any other advice you would have for brand newbies kind of just getting started?
Foundation. Get the foundation. At some point, and even right now, you have to scale back, kind of like a slingshot. You got to pull back to be able to slingshot forward, and you got to get that foundation laid.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had the foundation laid and I was systematically doing an email every week, and at that time it wasn't, but now it is.
Sure.
An email every week. If I was systematically communicating with a database, they would have called me up. Hey, Nicole, we're ready to go. Such and such has graduated, all that kind of thing. You have to slow down to speed up. Yeah,
no doubt. No doubt. So as you look ahead, right, with some of the things that you've learned over the last couple of years of you and I working together, what has you most excited when you look at your goals for the future?
I was in preparation for today, thinking, what could you possibly ask me? I've already surpassed last year's.
Wow. Have you really? Here we are, May 14th, and you've surpassed what you did all of 2022.
Mm-hmm. Or
wow.
2023.
Oh, 2023. I'm sorry. Yes.
I've done that. So, I mean, I capped, but again, capping is, to me, surviving.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
I want to thrive. So I've already done that. And then I'm looking at potentially 5 million in the pipeline right now.
It's amazing.
2 of which are signed listings, and other one is a seller that was a past client that I was like, it's not that bad to talk to people that you talked to in the past.
That's right.
They're actually happy to hear from you.
That's right. So 5 million on top of the 2.5, because it's about 2.5 million to cap, right? You've already done that here, pretty much in the.
Actually, it's probably about 1.9.
That's right. Yeah, about 2 million to cap, and then you're thinking that you can get to another 5 million on top of that by the end of the year. So finish around 7 or 5 total.
I say 5 million would be good. I have a tendency to have some great grandiose goals, and if I sit down and do the script practicing and understanding the anatomy of the sales call, and especially how you break it down from the pattern interrupt to the self-discovery, next steps, and disqualifying, getting that internalized, honestly, the sky's the limit. I don't want to really put on recording what I really want to do. Put it this way. I feel like I want to be a bold coach.
Cool.
And in order to do that, you got to do some transactions.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
And doing your program and the way it's laid out and getting the client have their own autonomy and all that kind of stuff, Honestly, I don't see where I can't do it.
Yeah, no
But as
doubt.
long as I put in the work and be consistent, that's the bottom line.
That's the
And we
bottom
all
line.
suffer with that.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, listen, I mean what I said before we started the show. I mean, I just really enjoy working with you because you always keep it real. You never hold back, and it's a real joy to be able to coach somebody like you, and I mean that. So thank you for doing the podcast and pouring back into other agents because just like you, right? They're brand new. They're out there searching. They're watching YouTube. They're listening to content. They're saying, "Well, how do I navigate this business?" I'm hearing all these different voices. So I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for having me, Brandon. I appreciate you.
You got it. Talk to you soon, Nicole.
Thanks.
Bye bye.